Right now we're fishing, this is the upper reaches of Elk Creek coming from Lake Erie in Pennsylvania. We've got a beautiful pool right here, and most of these steelhead that come out of the lake have moved far enough that they're up into this water right now. We're hoping that we can catch a couple. There's quite a few guys that have been trying bait, using some different options. I'm going to try a spinner. There's just lots of different things that will catch these fish. Right now we're hoping that we can find just exactly what they're looking for. We have a beautiful evening. The sun's come out. It's very, very nice. It's supposed to reach almost 50. As long as the weather gets up like that, these fish should start moving. So I think that what's important when you're steelhead fishing in a situation like this is to make sure that your bait stays close to the bottom. Steelhead kind of relate right to the bottom, and it's not very often in a stream like this that they'll suspend. So what you want to do is make sure that whatever you're using, whether it's live bait, whether it's a spinner, whether it's a spoon or whatever, make sure that it stays close to the bottom on your retrieve. Another thing that's extremely important in any situation where we're fishing and there's current like this, it's important that we start off casting maybe quartering upstream, and as we bring it back, allow the current to carry it down till we're retrieving at about 90 degrees. Then a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less, until we're finally casting like at a 45-degree angle downstream, and as we bring the lure back, we want it to end up close to the bank just down below us. It's real easy to do this if we're in the water. This is just a small section of the stream right here, and I'm just trying to stay on the bank so that we can go ahead, flip across, and bring the lure back. Again, allowing it to ride very, very close to the bottom on the whole retrieve. First cast, we'll go upstream, allow it to sink, and bring it back. As that lure comes back across the current, it will be carried down until it's not quite a 90-degree angle. Again, that'll depend on the weight of the spinner. This time I'll cast, instead of a 45-degree angle, maybe a 40-degree angle, so that I completely cover all of the water between me and the lure as it comes through. Many times in a situation like this, especially for steelhead, you'll be able to spot a fish lying on the bottom. And there's another thing that's very important. Every cast, make sure that your lure is spinning free. When you're using a very light line, like this is only 6 pounds, casting a spinner this size, a lot of times the line is so limp and so soft, the lure will actually wrap up in the line. So we'll make another cast, this time about 35 degrees, and bring it back. We'll try it again. Each retrieve, it's a good idea to try something different. At first, maybe just a steady crank the reel retrieve. After that, pump the rod tip. If pumping doesn't work, just like this, maybe vary the retrieve with the reel handle. Crank it fast a few times. Allow the lure to fall. Crank it fast, allow the lure to fall. I just made about 15 casts with the yellow spinner, and now I'm going to try something a little bit different. It's called a Thomas's lure. And this one just happens to be the rainbow color with a silver back. It's very important anytime you're using this type of a lure, either a spinner or a spoon, make sure that you have a swivel on your line. It'll put so many twists that before long your line will look like a big bird's nest. So it's really important that you keep the spinner on the line if you're using artificial lures, especially anything that will cause a twist. I'm tangled, I can tell by the resistance. Many times you'll get on a stream and start looking around and you'll see one guy casting and everyone else fishing with bait. Pretty much what you've got to do is allow the fish or the mood of the fish to give you the clues as to what to use for bait. There's times when fish are really aggressive and you'll see them jumping, you'll see them, their backs coming up out of the water. That's a pretty good clue that those fish are feeding pretty heavily. And at a time like that, that's when you want to use a spoon, something like this, possibly a spinner. Most anything that's moving, the fish will be aggressive enough at that time that they'll chase it and actually go after it. Like this, we're really not seeing too many fish moving at all, and it would probably be more productive to be fishing with live bait right now. I've been here many times before, and there's always the one chance that that fish that's moving around will come after a spoon or a spinner. So even though everyone else is right now just drifting bait under bobbers, I'm going to try it with a spinner. This one just happens to be a spoon. We'll give it a try and see if the fish are aggressive enough to chase something like this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what it's all about. We have a nice steelhead. He took a spoon. Trying to get him into the bank right now where you can see him. There's another one right there. The biggest part of playing any big fish like this is just keeping your rod bent. This is only 6-pound test line, so it would be very easy for this fish to take off and wrap it on a branch and actually break the line. But as it is, if we keep the rod bent and keep steady pressure on him, eventually we will tire him down and we'll be able to get him into the bank. Like I said, this fish is far from done. There we go, everyone. That's a Pennsylvania steelhead, fresh out of Lake Erie.
We understand how hard you work to collect your pelts. This is why NAFA works so hard for thousands of North American trappers. With the only wild fur promotional program in the world, NAFA is increasing the demand for wild fur. And with over 400 international buyers competing in our auction room, NAFA always gets the highest prices for your fur. Please visit nafa.ca for more information.